etc. If you don't have a problem with dairy, on stage 2, you can have all of those rich dairy products. So, hopefully made by you, we prefer, and hopefully made from raw milk or raw cream, because the nutrients in a raw milk or a raw cream product, the nutrients in when you culture raw milk and raw cream to make yogurt or kefir or cultured cream, sour cream, the nutrients will be far greater than if you try to do it with pasteurized, number one. And number two, the probiotics will be far greater also. So a very, very potent thing to do is to make your own cultured dairy from raw milk and cream. All right, you know I'm always plugging that. I've been on the old raw milk, raw cream wagon for many, many years with the Weston A. Price Foundation, etc. Okay, so extended stage 2. So once you've gone through and done all these things in stage 2, you've incorporated egg yolks, and you're doing fine with them. You've incorporated gravlax and fermented fish. You've incorporated, you continue to incorporate all that fabulous cultured dairy. What can you do for extended stage 2? Then you can, after a while, incorporate things like sautéing vegetables and meat. Whoa. Baking, broiling, roasting, lots of vegetables, your vegetables and lots of fat, your meats, etc. All right, and also on extended stage 2, you can add that GAPS milkshake, which Dr. Natasha milkshake here in this blue book. She goes through exactly what she likes to see in a GAPS milkshake. Look, I opened straight to page 80. Long term, we take GAPS milkshakes twice a day. The GAP shake. She tells you exactly what should be in a GAP shake. All right, I hope that helps. I'm happy to take more questions. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and see what you all have, or questions are coming in. So here we go. All right, let's see what's going on. First question came in from Leonie. Here we go. Can probiotics compete with each other if you have them at the same time? Sour cream and sauerkraut with dinner, yogurt for dessert, and a glass of kombucha or kvass. Just go for it, Leonie. Just go for it. And everyone, have as much probiotic food and probiotic beverages, cultured dairy, fermented vegetables, tonics, beet kvass, kombucha, you name it, eat it, drink it. One of the things that I like to say to people when I work with them, or just when I'm speaking, wherever I'm speaking, is that one of the things the GAPS diet really wants you to do, I'm going to use the word jiggy, is to get jiggy with ferments. What does that mean, jiggy? That means that your body will so easily go ahead and be able to tolerate any ferment in any amount every day. What does that mean? That means that you're not getting constipated, you're not having diarrhea, you're not bloating, you are not cramping, right? All sorts of things. You can have a cup to a cup and a half or more, 2 cups every day of kefir, of cultured cream, of kombucha, of sauerkraut. Just get a variety of ferments and cultured foods into your diet. Make them yourself whenever it's possible. In fact, that is what is preferred. You can buy things from other people. Certainly, if your neighbor is going to make the kraut and you're going to make the kvass and you're going to swap, perfection. But in any case, try to make them yourself. That's always preferred because the quality of the ferment will be controlled by you. You'll know what's in it. You'll know how potent it is. And you'll get a very, very good healing product. So don't worry about, quote unquote, competing with each other. What we're trying to do is just get a lot of the fabulous, beneficial microbes into your body. And Get them anytime you can, any way you can. And often, again, what I will tell people, what I will suggest is, you know, if you do nothing else, cut out sugar and processed foods, number one. Have as much cultured dairy and fermented foods as you can. If you just did that, folks, of course, meat stock, yes, I know. Add in your meat stock, your stock every day. You know, GAPS is a broad protocol, and we need to remember that it was made, designed by Dr. Natasha first to heal brain problems that had to do with gut issues, right? And then over the years, she found out, oh, everything's connected to your gut. Of course, we knew that, but clinically, she found out whenever she would have someone start GAPS, that all sorts of things would go away. Autoimmune, arthritis, fatigue, allergies, neurological problems, brain fog, you name it. Again, I love this book because it's got the GAPS conditions A to Z. I don't know, 140 something, some huge amount. Go take a look at this thing. It's incredible. And incredibly, incredibly detailed, if you will. So, I hope that was helpful, Leonie. Just get those ferments in any way you can. In fact, I want to just give you a quick tip. So what if you were making chicken salad? What's an easy way to get the probiotics into somebody and they won't even know it? And maybe they will know it, but what could you do? You could use cultured cream instead of mayonnaise. Bing, you've just increased your probiotics in the meal. You could, when you make your salad dressing, use kombucha or beet kvass instead of vinegar. Bing! Right? These are ways. Start thinking creatively of how can I get these foods into myself, into my children, etc., etc. Okay, I hope that was helpful. All right, let's see. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, Dana has a question. Oh, it's very long. Okay, Dana, I'm going to read, everyone. I have a question. According to the Yellow Book, supplements for children are not encouraged. Correct. However, my little girl is celiac and anemic, and if she doesn't take them, she doesn't do so well. I have tried removing them a few times for 1 to 2 months at a time, and she gets deficient. As a necessary evil sometimes, are there any supplements suitable for children clean that you would recommend? Yes. So one more time with feeling, folks. One of the main principles of GAPS that we should all keep in mind, I hope we all keep in mind, is that we want to stay away from foods, well, certainly processed foods. We also want to stay away from things that are not on the diet and that would feed pathogenic bacteria or pathogenic microbes, whatever they are. Maybe they're yeast, maybe they're something else. In any case, so if you need, this is the word according to Monica, okay? And I believe it would be the word according to Dr. Natasha too. However, she's not right next to me right now. She's probably in her fabulous garden or farm doing something out there. Do the best you can. Do the best you can, mamas. Do the best you can, caregivers. Do the best you can. So your little girl is celiac and anemic. I'm sorry to hear that. So I would be really focusing on the following foods for her. I would be focusing on lots of stock, meat stock, make sure it gels, make sure it's short cooked. I know you're doing all of that. I would be focusing on liver. I would be focusing on organ meat. I would be focusing on bone marrow and bone marrow broth and bone marrow that you bake and then knock out of the bones and make into butter for her. I would be focusing on all of those very, very, very nutrient-rich organ meats for your little girl. That will be very, very helpful for her. So the other thing I would do is if you're going to use a supplement, get the best quality that you can find. So we're always doing this balancing act in the GAPS diet, right? Especially as practitioners, where we're looking at food first, which is what you're doing. So I'm giving you some suggestions about how to help her in terms of the nutrients she needs as an anemic and a celiac, okay? So lots of good, rich things like that. And then find the best quality things you can find. That's what I would do. If you can get supplements that you are able to pull out of the cellulose, which is fiber, which can really aggravate the digestive tract. For example, take a capsule, open it up, and put the supplement in yogurt, in something cool or cold, in food. Then that's a great thing. Everybody should be doing that. We shouldn't be popping those capsules. Get rid of the capsules, toss them. They're made of cellulose, which most of them, or gelatin from, we don't know what kind of sources. And of course, that's problematic itself. So I would do that, Dana. I would really work, like do the best you can. First of all, everyone is doing the best they can, right? So give her these high iron and nutrient dense, beautiful organs every day. Give her a heart, yeah? Lots of liver, lots of heart, lots of bone marrow, very, very high nutrient dense. Give her lots of meat stock because we want to heal and seal that lining, yeah? And then, maybe you can pulse, Dana. Maybe you can pulse things. Like instead of taking them out, taking them, both of her supplements or whatever they are, out, like all of them out at one time, maybe you could keep one going and pulse the other one, meaning keep one going and give her the other one every other day, give her the other one every other week, give her the other one every 3 days. I wouldn't go from all to nothing ever, unless we're talking about taking out processed foods, of course. But in terms of this, if she's on supplements, her body is using them. This is, again, this is how I would work with her, would be to suggest pulse them for a while and keep going. Just keep going. And eventually what will happen, I believe, is that she will not be anemic. Remember, anemia has a lot to do with the state of the gut, as you all know. So heal and seal the gut, keep up the meat stock, provide lots of rich, iron-rich, really, foods, and carry on. That's what I would do. Go for the most nutrient-dense foods you can do. Go for the least toxic supplements you can do. So those would be food-based ones, if it's at all possible. Yeah, that's my best. And look again at why she's anemic. Does that help? I hope that helps. And one more time with feeling. So when I work with supplements, I work with standard process supplements. They are a whole food nutrient company that's been around for 95 years, maybe longer. That was started by Royal Lee, Dr. Royal Lee, who was a colleague of Dr. Weston A. Price. They were both dentists, but dentists back in the early 1900s were more like doctors than dentists. They had far more training. In any case, and Royal Lee was just brilliant. So he started a supplement company called Standard Process. It's been around. It's in the U.S. So if you're in the U.S., you should be able to get them. They do not ship worldwide, which is saddening to me. But that would be something to take a look at. Again, one more time with feeling. Liver, liver, liver. Liver, 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 liver. Heart, heart, heart. Bone marrow, meat stock. Lots of these things, and continue to give her lots of saturated fats that will really help her. So just work the diet. Just work the diet and do your best, and don't worry if the supplements are helping her. I say stay on them until she doesn't need them anymore. Okay, I hope that was helpful. Hello, Amina. Amina is with us with several questions. Here we go. Hi, Amina. I made the fermented nut butter for my son following your recipe twice, and both times it was not good. I'm so sad. I think it went bad or something, not sure. Can you please explain exact instructions on how to make it? My son has extreme diarrhea since I gave it to him as pancake. Okay, so one thing for everyone. Nuts are very, did I say it? Nuts are very difficult for our digestive systems. If you are introducing nut butter as a nut butter pancake, which is the way we do it on intro, and your child or you are having symptoms flare, get off the nuts. Just don't do them. Don't do them for a while. Maybe don't do them till you graduate to full GAPS. One of the things I want to let you know is that we GAPS practitioners and Dr. Natasha have been looking at nuts and wondering, Dr. Natasha specifically, has been wondering if nuts should come off intro. Like, don't even bother with them because they're too hard to digest. So I just want to give that to you. If your son is having extreme diarrhea since he had nut butter pancakes, he's not ready for nuts. I would wait 2, 3, 4, 5 months before I even went back to nuts. Don't think about it even in terms of getting through the stages. Just take them out. Go through a lot more healing before you even try to. So in terms of fermented nut butter, the first thing you do would be to take your nuts, whatever you do. So first, so everyone knows, Amina is referring to my recipe in this book. It's sitting in our group with a 15% off coupon for everyone. And if anyone is international and can't get the book because the shipping is too high, please send me a PM with your email and I will see if I can look at the shipping costs with you. If I ship it myself from where I have it shipped from right here, often the shipping costs are less. Okay. So going back to this. So if you're going to make fermented nut butter, fermented seed butter, the first thing you do is you take your nuts or your seeds. Let's take a pound. A pound is usually about 4 cups of raw nuts or seeds. Raw, not irradiated. Organic is best. Nuts or seeds. So that could be almonds, could be sesame seeds, could be pumpkin seeds. Okay. You're going to take those nuts and you are going to ferment them. And how do we ferment the nuts? We do it with water and whey. So water and whey. We cover them with warm water and whey, and then we let them sit. Now, in my book, we're letting them sit for 24 hours, maybe 48, maybe 72. Dr. Natasha, in her new book, has people having their nuts and seeds sit for 5 to 7 days or longer. Just letting you know. She's really going for it with this fermentation thing. So you ferment them, then you strain them, then you dry them. You do not have to dry them in a dehydrator. You can just dry them with a towel, etc. And then you can just go ahead and make nut butter. So nut and seed butter, everyone, is just made by putting those fermented nuts or seeds in your food processor or your Vitamix or whatever you've got to pulverize them. You pulse it. You can add coconut oil. It'll make it turn into nut or seed butter more easily, smoother, if you will. And then you've got your nut or seed butter. Now, a couple of nuances for you. Almond skins can be very, very irritating to the gut. So you could ferment your almonds and then take off the skins. You do that just by rubbing them, put them in your hands, rub them together. Skins will pop off. Or put them in a towel, rub them together in the towel. Skins will pop off. Or you could just have fun popping off the skins. But they will go all over the place, which is kind of fun if you've got kids. And then you go ahead and pulverize them. So you may want to remove those skins, folks, of almonds. Again, remember, nuts and seeds are very, very difficult for the body to digest. I was on last week with Dr. Natasha, maybe it was 2 weeks ago. She was teaching the certified GAPS practitioners, and she said over and over again, nuts and seeds are very, very hard for the body to digest. Some people will never have. Okay. All right. So here's another question. I hope that was fine for everybody. If you want more information about nuts and seeds and making nut butter, throw it on the page, Ask the Gap Chef, and I will get there. I usually don't get there, everyone, until the evening time, mountain time, because I've got clients and teaching and back-to-back and writing, blah, blah, blah. But I do get in. I try to get on once a day and answer your questions. Do my best. Okay. Amina says, I made the whey from raw milk on the counter, but all the cream is leaking out on the counter. I see the whey separated already. Is it done? I'm really wondering why the cream is leaking out on the counter. Woo! I just lost all of you. Oh no! That was fun, wasn't it? You fell down. Yipes! Sorry, folks. Okay, so I'm really not clear on why the cream would leak out. So, if you give me more information, I can try and troubleshoot that for you, Amina. Okay. Is it okay to eat fermented nettles, dandelions, spring garlic, fresh oregano? All of these are fermented. Is it okay to eat them on intro? Yes. Absolutamente. Okay. So, those are nettles, wonderful for you. Very high in calcium. Dandelion, really good. Dandelion greens, so good for the liver. Spring garlic, yes, love it. Fresh oregano, really good. So those are all fresh herbs, everyone. Grow them yourself. I love it. Ferment them. I love it. Eat them anytime you want. Actually, let me fix that little comment I just made. So we know that we eat fermented vegetables starting on stage 3, everyone, right? So we eat the juice on stage 1 and stage 2. And then we eat the fermented vegetables on stage 3. So I'm sorry, I just threw that in. Eat them anytime you want. That's not really true. You can eat them anytime you want on full, and you can eat them anytime you want, starting on stage 3. From stage 3, intro, stage 4, stage 5, stage 6. Very good idea. I love it. Happy you're fermenting them, Amina. Everybody should try it. Okay. Hello, Delphine. La, la, la. Here we go. I hope I'm saying that right too. It's so beautiful. All right. How can we keep yogurt and sour? How long can we keep yogurt and sour cream in the fridge? I don't have a lot of whey in my yogurts. How can I have more whey? Interesting. So one more time with feeling. We know that when we culture dairy, right? So we make, so yogurt is cultured milk. Sour cream or cultured cream is cultured cream. How long can we keep it in the fridge? You can keep it in the fridge forever. Really? I'm joking, kind of. But we remember that cultured dairy products never go bad. They just continue to culture. So they will continue to get more and more sour, and that's fine. In fact, that's great. So unless you contaminate them with double dipping because it's so yummy, don't do it. Unless you contaminate them, really, they can stay in the fridge. They can just stay in the fridge. What will happen is they'll just get more and more sour, more and more sour, more and more sour. Eventually what will happen is the sour cream or cultured cream will split in the fridge, and it'll start, the whey will be on the bottom. You can strain that, and then you'll have a really yummy cheese with some extra whey. Okay, I hope that was clear. I don't have a lot of whey in my yogurts. How can I have more? Really? Wow. So many people are telling me that their yogurts are so runny. Is your yogurt made with raw milk? Because as we know, everyone, raw milk yogurt will be runny. You're not doing anything wrong. Well, you might be. But if you're doing everything right and your raw milk yogurt is runny, that's the way it is. So don't worry about it. Just strain it to get some more whey. One idea for you, Delphine, is to get some raw milk. Just get your raw milk. Raw milk only, folks. Do not try this with pasteurized milk. Get some raw milk in a jar. I'm going like this because I get a 2-quart jar of raw milk. That's half gallon. And leave it on the counter. You have it. Lid is tight. It is not in the sun. It is not in front of an air conditioning vent. It is not sitting on your stove where it's hot all the time. It is not near a microwave, which I hope you do not own. And you just let it sit out there, lid tight, 5 to 7 days. Some people are going 10 days. Mary's going 10 days. She's in this group. Kristen's going 7 days. She's in this group. Whatever, people are going long. That's okay. You get a lot more whey that way. You got a lot more W-H-E-Y in that method, if that makes sense. In fact, for a half a gallon, you'll probably get 3 cups, half a gallon is 2 quarts. So you'll probably get a quart and a half of whey if you just allow a half gallon or 2 quarts of raw milk separate on the counter. I just thought I'd offer that. All right. How soon can we introduce kimchi? Leonie, anytime you want. No, so bratty today, aren't I? I don't know what's with me. I've got some kind of silly bug. Okay, so kimchi, as we know, is just another fermented cabbage. However, it's usually made with things like garlic, ginger, can be made with red pepper, hot peppers, etc. So, on the one hand, it is a vegetable ferment, and so it could be introduced on stage 3. On the other hand, if it's got peppers in it and it's very hot, you probably want to wait until stage 5 because we know, intro diet, because we know that nightshades, peppers are nightshades, and so introduce that on stage 5. I hope that's helpful. Leonie, let me know if you have other questions about that. Okay. So we have a question from Amina. What are your thoughts on carnivore diet? It's called animal-based diet. He talks about how most plants, broccoli, etc., are toxic plants not meant to eat. He says how to eat low toxic plants like squashes and berries. So I don't know the carnivore diet very well, everyone, but I would submit that it's probably pretty congruent with the GAPS diet, because we know that the GAPS diet is based on things like meat stock and pate and meats and things like that. One of the things that you want to think about is that fermentation, and I know I wrote an article on this a couple months ago that I can also put on our page. I wrote an article about the fact that, yes, plants have many anti-nutrients. Dr. Natasha would agree and has spoken the same. And, by the way, when you ferment them, the anti-nutrients are, what can we say, neutralized? That sounds like I'm an agent somewhere. The anti-nutrients are taken out of the equation. They are diminished, they are transformed, they are no longer an issue. So I would really go ahead and ferment those veggies. And I just want to let you all know that there are a lot of diets out there. And I really have found, personally, I've found after studying so many of them, that the GAPS diet has everything you need. And this is probably something that this medical doctor, Paul, whatever his name is, who started I don't know him, the carnivore diet, he is clear that plants have anti-nutrients. He's right. In fact, you don't even have to eat a plant. You never have to eat a plant if you don't want to, folks. Did I say that? I did. Yes, I was really blessed to be able to interview Dr. Natasha for the Weston A. Price Foundation Wise Conversations webinar we did about a week ago now, maybe 10 days ago. And she talked all about vegetarianism. And so if you want to know about vegetarianism and to learn that it's really fast, so you want to pick up this book, really good. Really good. But she went into the fact that humans don't need plants to live. They are cleansers. They're full of anti-nutrients. And I just want to offer that if you're going to have plants, fermenting them is really the way to go. And that will take care of all these problems about toxic plants. Yeah. All right. Great. Leonie, here we go. tips for joint pain. For example, shoulders where a bath is not possible. Are foot baths just as effective? Are there other things we could do? I'm sorry you're having joint pain. I would do topical things like, okay, I'm having a couple thoughts here. One is I would be adding things like turmeric, if you're not already, turmeric or turmeric root into your meat stocks. You can start that in stage 1 as long as you don't eat it. You can chop it up and stick it in stage 1. You can make turmeric tea. So I would be adding anti-inflammatories into your food. The other thing, also, just so you know, folks think you need black pepper with turmeric. You do, but what you really need with turmeric to make it much more bioavailable is fenugreek. Fenugreek. Turmeric plus fenugreek equals a very strong anti-inflammatory. So start there. Again, we want to remember that the roots and the seeds are not things we're going to eat on stage 1 or on stage 2. Stage 3, you can start eating them, but you certainly can make them as tea and put them in your meat stock, etc. The other thing is, I'm thinking topically what you could do is use things that are going to help, also anti-inflammatory. What are they? Frankincense oil, for sure. Frankincense oil has to be, really, I'd go with food grade oil if you're going to put anything on your body. Dear friend and colleague of mine, Becky Plotner, Dr. Becky Plotner will say, don't put it on your body if you wouldn't eat it. So that's what I'm saying. So food grade frankincense oil would be helpful. Any of the anti-inflammatory oils would be helpful. Rosemary may help. Certainly St. John's wort oil may help. Depends on what kind of things are going on. If it's nerves, then we're talking about St. John's wort. If it's just general inflammation, frankincense, those types of things topically. So foot baths are wonderful, folks. If you can't get into a tub, I would be doing foot baths for sure. Do them with Epsom salts. Do them with any of those wonderful baths, the detoxing baths that are included in the GAPS diet. So Epsom salts or baking soda or apple cider vinegar or seaweed or dead sea salts. So use any of these things, rotate them, see what feels best for you. Yeah. And then the other thing you may want to do, actually, I'm having a brainstorm right now, which is not a brain fog, a brainstorm. I would look at castor oil packs on the shoulders, on the joints. Castor oil packs are wonderful, you know, I want to say old-time remedy to bring blood circulation to the joint to allow the pain to go away. So castor oil packs. You get castor oil, C-A-S-T-O-R, organic castor oil. You get a flannel and you put it on, you soak the flannel with the castor oil, boom, with a hot water bottle. If you can't get a hot water bottle, you could just lean back against it. Or you could have someone help you out. I think anyone that has any pain in the body in a joint, try a castor oil pack. You could do it 10 or 20 minutes. I can put that on my website. Someone shoot me a note to do that so it's there. Okay, I hope that helped. What is St. John's wort? St. John's wort, W-O-R-T, is a plant. It's a beautiful flowering plant, little tiny yellow flowers, very vibrant. It can be used for nerve pain. That is called hypericum. That's a homeopathic. It can be used as an essential oil topically. You can also drink it as a tea, etc. Okay, just wanted to get that going there. All right. La, 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 la. Okay, wow, here we go. Adriana. Hi, Adriana. All right. Hello. If someone gave birth a week ago and had lots of bleeding during labor, I'm so sorry. Blessings. And afterwards, and now has anemia, what can she do? The iron they recommend is very constipating. One more time with feeling. This is great. I don't know if you were on, Adriana, when I was talking with Dana about anemia, but what can she do? Liver, liver, liver. She can have liver every day. You can make liver pate. You can cook a little liver in some meat stock and blend it up. You can make bone marrow broth for her. You can make bone marrow butter for her. I would be really concentrating on that. You can also do things with plant-based iron, like nettles, very high in iron. But I would be looking at liver for her, for sure. And lots of meat stock. Meat stock, pile it in. She needs good salt, high mineral salt. She needs lots of good, healthy fats. And, you know, I would just be giving her liver every day. Liver, egg yolks, liver. Yeah. I know. The iron they recommend is very constipating. That's because we need to get our iron from food, folks. And what's the highest food in iron? Liver. So, do that, please. All right. Dana says, thank you so much, Monica. She's eating lots of meat stock. This is okay. Liver. She hates it, but is having it. So find a way to get it in where she doesn't know, Dana. You know, if you can get, remember, a little liver goes a long way. A little liver goes a long way, a quarter for a little person. So you can grate it raw. You know, you start with grass-fed beef liver, freeze it for a minimum of 14 days. We've gone over this before, but 14 days in the freezer, and then get a microplane. Just grate it in. You can just grate it in. Yep, you can grate it into her stock, to her soup. You can put it into meatloaf. You can put it into hamburgers, meatballs, chili, anything that you want to make for her. Try and get some liver in. Remember that liver is a very strong taste, and some people don't like the taste, too strong. So use a little bit. A little can go a long way. In fact, let's say you have a pound of ground beef. Maybe you add, I don't know, I'd start with 1/8 of a pound of liver to that pound of ground beef until people get used to it. No capsules with supplements. Excellent. They are just the powder. They're the best I can find in the UK. Excellent. So you know what, Dana? Just go with it. Bless it and go. All of you have heard me say that before. Bless it and go. What does that mean? That means you've done the best you could. So now just don't worry about it. Align with your choice and go. That's what it means. Don't worry about it. You're doing great. And she's very blessed to have you. All right. Amina says, I soaked it with salt first for about a day. Then I drain that water, and then I add the whey and water. Then I drain, rinse, let it dry in the oven. Then I peel off. Okay, this is back to the nut butter question, fermented nut butter. You don't have to soak it in salt first and then go ahead and ferment those nuts. Just ferment the nuts. It's very possible that, I don't know, maybe you fermented too long, but who can ferment too long? The longer the better. That's what I always say. All right. Hi, Penny. Okay, Penny says, oh yeah, here we go. You've mentioned no metal utensils with kefir. Yes, kefir grains, folks, don't like metal. I like to use wood with mine. In fact, I don't even strain my grains out. I was telling Penny this the other day. I don't strain my grains. I just use a wooden spoon and scoop them out and put them in the next jar. So yes, how about lacto, ferments, and other cultured dairy foods? Yeah, you don't have to worry about metal with any other cultured dairy foods. Remember, the cultured dairy foods are, so you've got kefir, which is made with grains or a starter or another, or, previous batch, etc. Kefir or kefir is made of a symbiotic colony of bacteria and yeast. It's the yeast that don't like the metal. So every other lactoferment, every other cultured dairy is made with lactobacilli. That's the bacteria that are hanging out with the yeast over there for the kefir. And so lactobacilli, yeah, we're using knives to chop up vegetables, and yeah, not a problem. I hope that was clear. Hello, Deb. Nice to have you with us. Thanks for coming by. Here's Terry. Hey, Terry. I went into this whole thing about extended stage 2 in the beginning, so I hope that you were there or that you go back and listen to it. Would nut butter be the same for peanuts since they are a legume? No, they would not. How do you like that? So again, in my book, I go through the difference between peanuts and every other nut or seed in terms of nut or seed butter. So peanuts really are a legume. So you could just ferment them just like we're fermenting every other nut or seed, water and whey, or water and a starter packet, or water and a probiotic capsule, right? Etc., etc. Whatever you're using to ferment, it doesn't just have to be whey, it could be something else. If you want to soak peanuts, you'll be soaking peanuts in water and baking soda because they are a legume. Remember, so we're all clear here, we get it all straight. Nuts and seeds and beans and grains, but there's no grains on the GAPS diet, are all seeds. We want to do something to them to make them more easily digested. This would be something like what Amina was asking about before. Toxic plants have toxic substances. They do. They don't want you to eat them. How do you like that? Everybody's running around going, don't eat animals. Guess what? The plants don't want to be eaten either. Just want to let you know. In any case, so remember, just to make this clear, there is soaking, which is usually for nuts and seeds, water and salt. For peanuts, it would be water and baking soda, the soaking. There's sprouting. That's the second way that we can work with these anti-nutrients. Soak, sprout. Sprouting is when we allow them, these nuts and seeds, to sprout like a little plant. Fabulous. Very easy to do. Great to do with kids. And you can have all sorts of things sprouting on your windowsill. Okay, soak, sprout, ferment. They are 3 different types of techniques, or 3 different techniques, 3 different ways to make nuts and seeds and legumes more easily digested, to neutralize or take out or get rid of the anti-nutrients that are toxic to humans and make them more easily digested. Okay. La 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 la. Adriana says, good question, Adriana. If nuts are so hard to digest, what is the point of consuming them? Isn't it better to just avoid them? So I go into a lot of why nuts and seeds are in the GAPS diet in my book, The Complete Cooking Techniques. Nuts and seeds are bring variety to the GAPS diet. Nuts and seeds bring baked goods to the GAPS diet. Remember, so many people, all right, I'm not gonna say addicted, but I could say addicted. So many people come to GAPS from what we call the standard American diet, or maybe it's just the standard bad food diet for the whole world, which means a lot of processed foods, a lot of baked goods. They are used to having pancakes, they're used to having waffles, they're used to having muffins and cakes and cupcakes and bread and pizza and all sorts of baked things from grains. So one of the things that nuts do for GAPS is expand your repertoire in the kitchen. Meaning, now you can make a muffin. Now you can make a birthday cake. Now you can make, all sorts of things with nuts and seeds. Again, when you start baking with nuts and seeds, first of all, they are very advanced foods, as I've said, but also they're supposed to be treats, folks. They're not supposed to be everyday foods. They're not supposed to be in place of other nutrient-dense foods, just so we're really clear. I see some of these Facebook groups, and I see people putting up those recipes for chocolate this, and, sweet that, and these desserts, and those desserts, and, it's fine. I'm happy people it's wonderful for people to be experimenting with things, but let's remember that GAPS is not a high sugar diet. It is not a high baked goods diet. It is not a high treat diet. We're trying to get nutrients into people. So I just want to put that out there. Okay. So Adriana, if someone has a problem with nuts and seeds, yes, avoid them. Don't bother with them. Skip them. Skip them. And in fact, we really know that nuts or seeds are very highly problematic for people with ulcerative colitis, people with Crohn's disease. Don't even get me started. So many symptoms flaring because they try to add in nut butter pancakes. So if you have any of those kind of severe digestive disorders, I'd skip the nuts. Just for a while. Maybe forever. Jane says, hello, Jane. How do you ferment herbs? You ferment herbs the same way you ferment everything else. You get a jar. You get the herbs in that jar. Or maybe you can do green beans. You can do broccoli. You can do, pick something. Take a vegetable or an herb, a plant. I'm not talking about fruit here that's high sugar right now. So get your jar. This is about a pint jar, 2 cups. Put your herbs in, and then it's a brine, right? The basic ferment is a brine. All ferments start with brine, water and salt. If you're making sauerkraut, the cabbage provides its own water when you add salt. So fermentation is a brine, so water and salt. So usually what I've found is the best formula is for every quart, you're going to do 2 tablespoons of salt, or you can do 1 tablespoon of salt and a 1/4 cup or 4 tablespoons of whey. That's how you do it. And then you just keep that lid on tight and keep it there until the lid becomes really taut, and there's your fermented herbs. Okay. Hello, Jessica. Is everyone affected by nightshades? No. Not to my knowledge. Now, remember that some people come to GAPS thinking that they got nothing wrong. That's not true. They come to GAPS thinking they're fine on nightshades, and sometimes once we do that detoxing and they get on GAPS for a while, they actually find that they are sensitive to nightshades. So watch your joints or watch your reflux. Sometimes that's a nightshade issue. Okay, good. Leonie knows what to do with her fenugreek seeds. Just put it in a tea bag or something. You don't want to eat them. You just want to have them in your stock or in your tea, etc. Are ground flax seeds allowed on full GAPS? Yes. Ground, as far as I know, ground flax seeds are seeds. They will be allowed on full GAPS. Hey, Deb. Will the castor oil packs work for RA, rheumatoid arthritis in the hands? Deb, I would try it. I would absolutely try it. I have to tell you, anywhere that you have kind of stiffness happening or congestion happening, that would be a great place to use a castor oil pack. I would try it for sure. Let me know how it goes. Denise says, what companies do you recommend for castor oil, cod liver oil, fish oils? All right, Denise. Here we go. We're round in the corner here, so let's see. La 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 la. I'm going to take a couple more questions and then I'll have to get off because I have to go teach the Certified GAPS Coach program in just a few minutes. Okay, what companies do you recommend? Okay, so you can jump on my website and find all those answers. Simplybeingwell.com, resources. Go there. In terms of castor oil, I don't know if I have that on there or not, but I could. I would just go for organic castor oil. I like Edgar Cayce's castor oil. Edgar, E-D-G-A-R, Cayce, C-A-Y-C-E, castor oil. It's called, I'm going to get it wrong. Anyway, jump on, it's in like a purple and blue bottle. So I would look there. In terms of cod liver oil, fish oils. So fish oils, again, you want to get a clean fish oil that has more EPA than DHA in it. Remember, so good, Denise, remembering everyone. Cod liver oil is different from fish oil. They have two different actions, if you will, or gifts, right? So cod liver oil is going to give you the same thing that liver gives you. A, D, K, fat-soluble vitamins. A, biggest. Remember, cod liver oil is known as the anti-infective. Everybody wants to stay well right now? Go take your cod liver oil. Okay, so cod liver oil is different from fish oil. Fish oil gives us E, essential fatty acids. That's its gift. That doesn't mean cod liver oil doesn't have essential fatty acids, but it's really about the A and the D, mostly the A. And fish oils are all about the EPA and the DHA, and you need to have more E than D. And Dr. Natasha goes into all of that in both of her books but she really talks about, pardon me, having more EPA than DHA. Okay. Would infrared saunas help with healing on gaps? Yes. So use those other things, folks. Well, I don't know. I just think they'd help with healing anyway. So do things, right? Massage your body. Get lymphatic massage. Get your muscles massaged. Sit in Epsom salt and other detoxing baths. Use juicing. Dry brush. How about oil pulling? How about some saunas? Yes, all those wonderful things. Amina wants to know about laser hair removal while on gaps. I don't have an opinion on that. I mean, I'm assuming it's fine as long as you don't get shot up with a bunch of antibiotics or chemicals or something. Should probably be fine. Okay, so it looks like I have a lot. Hello, Alyssa. Nice to have you. All right, and everyone else, but Alyssa just jumped on and I could tell. Do you recommend the cod liver oil that comes with the high vitamin butter oil from Green Pastures? You know, whenever you take cod liver oil, whether it's fermented from Green Pastures or it's not fermented from Rosita or anywhere else, taking it with high vitamin butter oil or ghee is always recommended because must be time for me to stop talking. We're over. I'm coughing. Because the high vitamin butter oil, according to Dr. Weston A. Price, is going to really increase exponentially the effectiveness of the cod liver oil in terms of the body being able to use it. So, yeah, everybody should be doing that. All right, my dears, here we go. I am going to finish these two questions and then jump off. So if you put any more in, I can't answer you. So Dana says, apologies, Monica. One more question. You mentioned Gut Pro, Smidge. That's correct. Gut Pro now is Smidge. Are very good. Having looked at them, I'm unclear which ones to get my daughter. She is 7. Would the infant Smidge probiotics be suitable? You know, they also changed that on me, Dana. So I would look in terms of so when it was Gut Pro, their infant formula was good until age 12, but I don't think any longer. So I would just take a look at it and see what they say about how old the infant probiotic goes till. I don't know what it is anymore. I would just look at it and get the best one you can find. Okay. All right. Alyssa says, I love nightshades, all the colored peppers and various eggplants, but I suspected they were not beneficial for me. I went an entire month and somehow avoided paprika, nightshade, cayenne, nightshade, and in what I ate. Then I had a nightshade day where I ate lots of peppers and eggplant and peppers and ratatouille. I love ratatouille. Not just the movie. Felt awful, achy, fragile now. Now it is easier for me to avoid them because I know I will feel better without them. That's fantastic, Alyssa. It's a really good idea for everyone. If you want to try it that way, take it out for a good long while and then add it in and see what happens. That's always a good test to see what's going on. Yep. Okay, I think I've got everybody. Okay. Good. Yes, so just a quick thing, if people are looking for probiotics, remember that in GAPS, and I'll close with this thought. In GAPS, we really want you to get your probiotics from food, from cultured dairy, and ferments that you make yourself. Why? Because they will be far more potent than anything you're going to buy in the store and than any probiotic you're going to buy. All right, that being said, when do we use probiotics, or when do we suggest probiotics on the GAPS diet? We suggest probiotics on the GAPS diet when you or your child or whoever's on it is having severe, that means intolerable histamine responses, thank you for the hearts, to probiotic foods and fermented vegetables. So if you can't handle ferments, that doesn't mean the occasional runny eye, runny nose, or sniffle, folks. That means you really can't handle the histamines in a fermented food. That's when we give probiotics. Good? All right. Thank you all for being with me today. Been a pleasure. I hope you've learned something. I certainly have just by hearing your questions. I am going to make this file, as I said, available for you as a PDF download in the group. I'll do that later today when I'm done teaching the coach program. And I really appreciate that all of you are here. Blessings on everything you're doing. And yes, everyone, blessings on everything you're doing for your children, for yourselves. And remember, mamas, if these are mamas on, or dads, or caregivers of any kind, you cannot pour from an empty bucket. Make sure you're getting your own meat stock every day. Make sure you're getting your own eggs and egg yolks. Make sure you're taking in your saturated fats. Very important to keep you well while you're helping everyone else. Okay, thank you, everyone. Be well. We'll see you next week, I do hope.